A quick question. Have you been to a place that just stays in your heart? Like, no matter how much hard you try, उसका वो एहसास आपके दिल से नहीं जाता. That's like NIT Hamirpur for all the students. NIT Hamirpur is not just a university, it's a complete vibe in itself. वो मेस का खाना, फ्रेंडशिप ओवर, ग्रुप स्टडीज़ जहाँ पे उतनी ही पढ़ाई होती थी जितनी गप्पे, उतने shared laughters, shared frustrations, साथ की struggles, and then life happens. Everybody heads into different directions. And then when you meet one of them, that whole feeling gets revived. Dil Se is our effort to do that. It's like, let's sit down, let's talk, let's discuss those old kisse kahaniyan. Dil Se is a podcast for anyone who believes कि जो भी story दिल से निकलती है, that has power to inspire others and many. So with that, we are hosting the first episode of Dil Se, and I am your host for today. My name is Deepti Chauhan. I am from the 2003 pass out of ECE branch. And आज के guest का क्या कहना? He's a data scientist, a PhD scholar from BITS Pilani. He's a marathon runner. He cycles across kilometers, thousands of kilometers, I would say. He does AI for social good. Sath mein, if that is not enough, he's also the general secretary of the NIT Alumni Association. So I will welcome Dr. Prawaal Sharma, 2000 pass out of computer science. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Deepti.
So, sir, I want to take you back to the days of college. You've achieved so much in your life. It's been almost 25 years plus that you've passed out. So, back in college, what were you like in year one? What was that computer science department? Just run us through those halls, and what was your classroom like, your teachers like?
Okay, so thank you for that grand introduction, and I'll just try to go a little out of context here.
Sure.
And just say that I generally address myself as Prawaal, not Prawaal Sharma, and that there is some story behind it and some philosophy, some things that I believe in. So I have kind of disowned my last name, my passport, to my engineering degree, to everywhere, in Infosys, in LinkedIn, everywhere you'll not see Sharma with me. I feel that this merging of caste and religion and things with your name, that spoils the lot of things in society. So
That's an interesting perspective, sir.
Yeah, it's an interesting perspective, and to take it to the other extreme, I used to think back when I was younger, that if people in this world, if they, instead of having names to their being, if they have an IP address or some number, then there will be no bias, there will be no when you hear about somebody, okay, so you say, what is your last name? That gives you an indication of his religion, of his maybe where he stands in the caste system, and you try to make some perceptions in your mind. So with that thought, very early when I was in class 10, I thought, let me get away with Sharma.
Okay, so I'll keep in mind ki it's only Dr. Prawaal, sir.
No, I didn't. I thought it is some insight that may be interesting to some people.
Absolutely,
Okay.
it's a different perspective.
And I'm an atheist, so I have not done this as a part of any cult or anybody prescribing me to do so. So it was something that I fundamentally believe right from my teenage, and I still prescribe to it.
Okay, so take us back to your corridors. What were you like as year one in CSE building? मुझे पता है CSE का एक different पूरा block था. Actually, मेरी first memory आपकी CSE के corridor के block के सामने, you were talking to a teacher with short hair, and I was in first year. You were in the final year, and I remember seeing you with the. Did you have a bike?
No, I did not have a bike back in those days. Unlike Gen Z now, who have become very self-driven, we used to have one bike or a couple of bikes in the entire group, and it was a joint property. So,
अच्छा.
उसमें फ्यूल डालो और इसको जहाँ जाना है लेके जाओ.
Very
So
convenient.
yes. Nowadays I don't see that kind of collaboration when I see my son or his friends. But उस जमाने में बाइक किसी की भी हो, अगर तुम्हारे पास फ्यूल भरने के पैसे हैं तो तुम चला सकते हो.
सर मैंने एक कहानी सुनी है एंड थ्रू द विस्पर नेटवर्क्स ऑफ सीनियर्स कि you were favorite of some strict teachers and some teachers not so much. What is the backstory behind this? Or is this true or what was the
No,
backstory?
this is absolutely true. Uh, I used to be a very unconventional and a curious kid. We are still kids when we enter into the NIT ecosystem. So I was very curious. I never went to the class. My attendance must be 100%, and I used to be a front bencher. But I never got a notebook with me. I used to only listen. Okay, I used to think that if I start taking notes, my focus will get lost, and I will not be able to grasp what the person is saying. So few teachers, the strict ones, Kamlesh Datta, who still hails to be the one of the most senior professors in NIT today. She used to like me, and she was very thorough in her subjects, computer graphics, algorithms, data structures. So I was, I would say, I was selectively studious. So I would put my heart and soul into computer graphic. I still remember some of those equations, but subjects like psychology or economics or English literature that used
जहाँ
to
पे
have.
नोटबुक जरूरी है.
हाँ शायद नोटबुक ज़रूरी है और शायद बहुत ज़्यादा एम्पेरिकल थिंकिंग ज़रूरी नहीं है.
Right.
है ना, तो वहाँ पे आई यूज्ड टू.
It's a good pivot. I wanted to ask you कि you were obviously the topper of CSE in your batch. There's a perception कि जो the toppers usually are so academically focused that they don't have any life, no fun, no extracurricular activities as such. How true was that for you?
Yeah, so I mean, in computer science in 1996 to 2000, there was not one consistent topper, unlike some other branches. There was a set of people who used to be toppers. I was one of them. Some semesters I topped, some semesters I did not. But my life was quite interesting. I found my life partner in NIT Hamirpur. We had a very strong affair when we were in the last year. I had one more interesting incident where there was some trouble that some kids had with few people in the town, and then I don't know, for all of a sudden in that age we also became a little enthusiastic, went down, police aa gayi, and then we were put into jail, and there were some 15 hours of that physical torture that we went through, which was, I mean, a different level. So so I mean, I have a mix of and as you said, I had my favorite. Some teachers used to consider me as their favorite because of the intellectual discussions and disagreements we used to have, and some teachers used to find or used to think that I try to become over smart, or I'm trying to make being sarcastic or trying to make fun of them, and so they disliked me.
Okay, so that's very interesting, from being topper, from being so, I would say, so brilliant, and then having affair, going to the jail. You've had a very interesting life.
Yes.
Any more wild stories or dramas of college time?
No, I mean, a lot of this is between the academic seriousness and the mischievousness. There used to be a lot of, I don't know if our college still has those kinds of rules and regulations, but the girls' hostel used to get locked around 8 p.m. or so, and all the.
So 6 p.m.
6 p.m. Okay.
Winter time.
Yeah, so I'm talking about 25 years back when
Okay.
when the.
You had more liberty before us.
No, it was not that there was more liberty, but teachers also had a mindset that this is how a society needs to run.
Right,
Okay.
right.
I don't know whether it was Hamirpur effect or something else. So I disliked it. I would dislike it even more now. But as a matter of, as a gesture of some kind of protest, I would say a protest or maybe a symbolic protest. Me and one of my friend, from my junior batch, his name is Manoj Bahel. He is now in London probably, and we thought let's try to buy a lock. Okay, from the town, and let's try to put a lock on the top of the lock. Okay, so in the morning when they try to open their lock of the institution, there'll be one more lock, and then they'll probably get into some troubles, or they'll have to break it, and there is some fun element out of it. So we collected money. We bought a very expensive tala, which was like jail ka tala, which was like this big. And then in the middle of the night, हम दोनों वहाँ गए, me and Manoj Bahel, and then हमने वो ताला लगाया. And then सुबह सुबह when जब भी वो ताला खुलने का time होता है, you will know better than me whether it is 6 a.m. or 8 a.m. They were surprised. They got some people from housekeeping, and they were trying to break it. It was a lot of fun looking at it from the other side. So ये इस type की stories हैं, which are, I would say, it's like a harmless mischievousness.
Yeah.
And they had some kind of a subtle message that we wanted to convey anonymously, because we didn't want to put a name to it, because professors, you know how hard they can get if they know who has done it.
Right, right. The fun college life. So I'm going to take you to your final year, and then you passed out. So you got your job immediately after passing out. You were very young, and then you were in Infosys. You've stayed there for 25 years, and then you decided to pursue um, your PhD. But before that, so such a long time in a one company where we have this switch in 2 years, wala funda these days. Uh, what was your thought process, like staying with the company for such a long time?
Okay, so I have some of my own ways of interpreting how we should live and how we should take decisions in life. What I see is that most people these days, they decide their actions based on maybe what they are conditioned with. So most of the decisions that people make these days, especially professionally, they are money driven. Okay, so if I get X rupees here, if I can get 1.X somewhere else, I will switch. So I think that money is a byproduct that comes out of what you do, and you need to feel passionate about what you do day to day in your work. So if you don't enjoy your work, if on a Sunday evening you feel that कल मुझे ऑफिस जाना पड़ेगा, so that is not something that will keep you for very long.
Right. So you've let your fire burn till so many years being in the same company, which is, I think, rare and I think very appreciable, because it doesn't happen so much these days. Besides, even I'm in the company for a very long time.
So yeah, we prescribe to the same opinion then.
So tell me about the PhD decision. How you're already in a corporate career, how did you decide that now I've got to study? Because PhD is a whole lot of work. You have family. What was that thought process?
PhD is tough, okay, and if somebody comes to me and asks me that I want to do a PhD, whether it is in my office or outside, I generally would discourage that person to do so, because PhD is not like an MBA or a time box degree where you spend so many semesters and you will get a PhD. PhD teaches you, one of our professors told us, it teaches you patience and perseverance and persistence. So, and it takes years and years and years to get deep into a problem. Why I did my PhD, I always wanted to do my PhD, because as I told you that if I have to describe my inner self, what I am, I think I'm a very curious person. So I think the eventual end goal for a curious person is to do a PhD, get into research, explore, research, innovate. Okay, so it was a natural extension to what I wanted. I sometimes feel I should have done that earlier. Okay, but anyway, बाद में भी किया, is better than not doing it. And जो भी वो time लगता है PhD में, it took around 6 years for me, and that's an average time it takes if you go to a good tier 1 college in India or abroad. It takes time. That journey itself is very enjoying,
Okay.
when you research, when you write a paper, it goes to some conference, it gets rejected, you get
Right.
nasty comments, and then you improve it, etc.
So, what would you tell a student who might be in their first or second year, early in their career, somebody who's just joined a job very early in their years of their career? What would you tell them at this stage, since you have a lot of hindsight knowledge? What would you advise to them? What is the right time?
Okay, so without being too philosophical or preachy, I would still say that explore yourself. Okay, explore yourself, introspect, and find out what you are good at and what you really want to do. Sometimes we get swayed by, what's a cool thing to be done. Okay, maybe it is data science now, it would be quantum computing in some time, or being an entrepreneur, or building an AI startup. All of these are cool things to be done, but is that what you really want to do, or is that how you as an individual is designed to be? We do a lot of decision making by external factors, which society influences us, or our parents put their thoughts to our mind in our upbringing. I would say explore yourself, figure out. There are formal ways to figuring out, like there can be some formal methods how you can figure out yourself, or you just go out and explore yourself, take a step back and see where what you want to
और
do.
सर आपको ऐसे क्या लगा कि PhD brought a different perspective in your career after you did your all that studies, because it's a lot of, as you've said, it's a lot of investment, lot of time, curiosity. So once you did your PhD, or during that course of PhD, did you bring any perspective back into your work when you came back and started doing your work? What was the
Yeah,
change?
so there are multiple modalities of learning. uh, Experience is one, where
Yeah.
you get into a job and you do things, and in a period of time, with years and months doing the same stuff, you become more efficient in doing it. But I feel that that principle of learning of by hands on the job has their limitations. It will make you efficient in what you do, but it may restrict you to think out of the box and question that why I am doing this, in the first place, and is there a better method to do the same kind of a work, or a different business process itself, or the process itself. Okay, so those kinds of things is what a PhD brings you. It gets you more deeper and philosophical, and asks whether what you are doing is something that you should be doing in the first place, or you know and become efficient at it, or is there something that you can think out of the box and find a new way of doing the same things. So that is one thing, and as a byproduct of a PhD, it can also give you an edge in your professional career also, especially in corporates, where the number of PhDs are less than 1%. Unless you go to any research firm, in most of the consulting firms, the PhDs are less than 1%. And when you talk to some of your customers, and you are, let's say, defining a strategy for them or a roadmap for them, everybody wants to do AI and bring AI into their operations. It can add that career growth as
So
well.
that brings me to an important perspective about you, that you are a data scientist. You are into AI analytics. આજકલ everybody, the entire world is running behind AI analytics, and obviously it's very important because times are changing. We are seeing that change happening. It's similar to what we saw maybe back when the computers came, or software came. Um to a young graduate again starting out, what would you advise? How early should they bring? And even to our college or the university, what should they imbibe at this stage of where the world is, and what should the academia accommodate, like in terms of adjusting with how fast the world is moving?
Data scientist, being a data scientist, or In general, in data science, uh, people generally get mistaken and they think that data science is all about learning Python, learning set of models and frameworks, and in the world of AI and analytics, maybe MCP protocol, LLMs, using them as an API, etc., etc. But those are very perishable skills. So I always feel that there are two kinds of skills in data science and in other places as well. One are perishable skills, which are probably relevant today, will not be relevant few months down the line, which is your Anthropic versus Gemini versus ChatGPT versus this and that, this model versus that model, and etc., etc. The more fundamental skills are in data science is the math and stats and those kinds of things. How good are you with mathematics? How is your how does your mind operate when it comes to mathematics?
Okay.
Can you define a problem mathematically? Can you rewrite the objective function in an equation? So if you really want to pursue data science, it is beyond the tool sets and frameworks.
Got it. It's a mindset. So, talking about mindset, you have cycled hundreds of kilometers on your cycle alongside with your wife, or ma'am, Vidisha ma'am. Tell us about those trips. What was the thought process? You guys going on a bike. Just share some stories from there.
Okay, so yeah, that was a very interesting trip which we did, Manali to Leh, 9 days, 9 or so, and it is around close to 500 something kilometers that we did, and it's a very treacherous ride. It's not like 500 kilometers from Pune to Goa. It is, and when I go back and get my memory refreshed, we are not we are not the super fit or the fittest people of NIT Hamirpur.
Okay.
It is more about how hard you can train your mind. And there are situations, so when you are cycling on day one itself, when we were cycling from Manali city to Rohtang Pass, and we were cycling and cycling for 8 hours and 9 hours, and still there was a long way to go. It was raining and we had 10, 15, 20 kgs of stuff with us, because we had our own tent, our own food. We didn't go with any agency that picks up all your
Luggage,
things,
yeah.
yeah, and they pamper you and they tell you that you can only go on a bike and we'll take care of the rest of the things. So we had a lot of that stuff, and on the day one itself we realized that it is going to be hard, or it is going to be very hard. And but if you make up your mind, if you are determined, then I think there is nothing that can stop you. And both of us were there together in that journey. There were times when I was about to give up, there were times when Vidisha was trying to give up, and then we were trying to peer motivate each other and say that no, we can still do it. And eventually we found some more cyclists on the way who motivated us. We also found a couple of stupid people on the way who wanted to take pictures with our cycles and go down maybe few kilometers, which takes hours in that oxygen deficit environment, and we had to again come up. So it was a very interesting experience, something that you will not forget for a few years at least.
Wow. It's a very interesting story. I can absolutely imagine Vidisha ma'am doing that. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So last year you guys completed your 25 years. You were back in college for, or the university, I would say, for your alumni 25-year celebrations. How was that? How was the feeling going back to the uni after 25 years?
It was a great experience. It is always great to go back to NIT Hamirpur, look at what has changed. A lot of infrastructure has changed for better stuff, and buildings have become more modern. Number of kids have increased, but I think the vibe of the college is still the same. It's still deep into the hills, isolated, away from the bustling cities. And you go there, canteens or the food courts still served that horrible breakfast, and
Oh.
and and we really liked it. And we you meet with friends, and we I was also one of the few people who were trying to get together everybody. So there are people have distributed, some people are in US, some are in Europe, some are in Australia, and almost from entire world there were around 70-75 people who came. Some came with their families, some came independently. We it was one of the best days in the last 5 4 5 years. And I would prescribe to everybody that whosoever I think this time it's going to be 2001 batch, and thereafter everybody should go there, meet their friends. And whether you operate as a CEO of an organization, or whether you have not done so great, everybody is still the batchmate there. So there is no there should not be no the mindset should not be that how good it's not your self advertisement, or something that you want to boast of. You are a student and you want to relive that kind of a student life there.
Okay, so it was
So
like reliving those memories, yeah?
yes, yes, yes.
Very interesting. Um, so if you were to go back 25 years ago, back into the same block, what would you do different that you didn't do that time?
Okay. See, I think whatever I did was, I'm very quite happy with it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I can still do some commentary on what I could do better. But in that context
Mm-hmm.
of 1996, um, uh, superimposing that with what I am today
Mm-hmm.
and where I am and what I know, it could be unfair. We used to be very I would say, coming from a kind of a small city to a college, a professional college, not having so much of confidence. So when I look at my son, who is in that kind of an age where I was in 1996, maybe a couple of years earlier, I see that these Gen Z kids, they are programmed with that self confidence from childbirth. We didn't have that self confidence to stand up and talk about yourself on day when it used to take a lot of courage.
Mm-hmm.
uh, but I think we evolved, the personality and everything that evolved, and I'm very happy with whatever I did 25 years back. I may not want to change anything.
Okay.
So
So you're also the general secretary of the Alumni Association of NITH. What's your vision for the next year for the entire alumni group?
okay, so now as a member of the NITH Alumni Association, we did a lot of brainstorming initially with our group of 10 people who are a part of the body, and we prescribed that there should be 5 things that we want to do, and those are documented as well. But we want to network. We want to network with all the people that have passed out. We still, in our database, whether it is on the portal or whether it is on LinkedIn or Facebook, there are still a lot of people. Almost 50% of the people who passed out from our college are not in that list or in that database. We want to make that list from 50% to 70-80% in the
Okay.
first place. We want to do events. We want to do events in different cities. We do it in Pune almost every year, because we have, I feel that the most enthusiastic NIT Hamirpurians are in Pune. Okay. So
Good to know.
so we do that in Pune, but we want to do that everywhere in India, like Bangalore, in Delhi, and Mumbai, and Delhi and Himachal Pradesh, and abroad as well. So we want to do those events. We want people to alumni to help each other. So like my wife works for BNY, and there is another guy from NIT Hamirpur who also happens to work at BNY as a contractor from Wipro. And because they know each other, they have the same college, they can talk to each other, they can professionally help each other, help them grow, and figure out things smartly. So we want the alumni to help each other. We still don't want to interfere with how the college operates, what they do in their curriculum and things inside the college, we would still want to operate outside of college as an alumni association.
Okay.
We bought some insurance stuff. Maybe we can bring more value added services for our alumni. So those are, and then we want to take feedback from the alumni as well, that what is it that they are looking out for. And as you said, that this podcast, which is the first one, is also one of the means to share experiences from people who have gray hair or lost some hair to the young ones who have a bigger career in front of them.
So obviously, I can't help but ask. You met your life partner Vidisha ma'am in college. Tell us, how did you guys meet? You were not in the same class, and yeah, who asked whom out?
Okay, so there are few things we can discuss here, and there are few things we can discuss in a private space.
Okay.
But I mean, as I told you, I had kind of a colorful history in the college, especially the police case, etc. I mean, people, and I used to have long hair, which, like, my son also keeps long hair, but I used to have very, very long hair. So unconventional long hair in a place like Hamirpur. So, once I got through in my campus interview, which was in my third year. So I got my job when I was in sixth semester, which is
Okay.
which keeps your seventh and eighth semester more chilling and restful.
Correct.
And then you can do more mischievous stuff. But when I got my job when I was in sixth semester, I was trying to, anybody who said that let's party, I used to be more than happy and to give a party. So Vidisha happened to meet me. I knew her means I knew that she is Vidisha, but never spoke so much.
So this is in the sixth semester.
Yeah, this is in the sixth semester.
Okay.
And then we happened to meet each other at some place. I don't even remember which place, in some corridor or in some place where we were talking on something, and then she said that you got a job, and then I said yeah, but we can go out and party, and then she said why not. And then from there we went out. There was not too many places in Hamirpur to go out for a good dinner. At that point of time, we went inside Hamirpur city, and whatever was available, we spoke for around an hour and a half. And in that duration, we found out for the first time that there are a lot of things that are very common between us. Which is the adventure part, which is the lack, for the lack of better word, the indiscipline.
You had the same vibe.
Yeah, the same indisciplined vibe, the not planning vibe. And then it happened organically. So one day we thought that not just the two of us, we had a group of 4-5 people, and we said that let's walk from Hamirpur to Sujanpur. So Sujanpur happens to be quite a distant place from Hamirpur.
It's almost 23-25 kilometers.
Yeah, 25 kilometers in Himachal Pradesh.
Correct, in a mountainous terrain.
Which has altitude variations, etc.
Correct.
And we said that, okay, we'll go there, morning 6 a.m. we'll meet and we'll go. And then I got up, I went to the place where we were supposed to meet, and there was nobody else apart from Vidisha. And then we said that, okay, if it's just the two of us, let's go. So we went all the way to Sujanpur. Took us a lot of time. We walked, and we went there. We had some samosas or whatever was served on the roadside, without worrying so much about calories and oil, etc., which we do now in Pune. So and then we came back. So eventually, it was not kind of love at first sight. It was more to do so with, you interact, you get to know each other, and then you find out that yeah, the compatibility is there.
Okay.
And then it worked.
Okay, so before you guys cycled, you were walking, huh?
Yes.
All right. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So I think we're almost drawing to an end. What is a message that you would like to give to the students of NITH, or even the alumni that are spread across the globe at every corner from a dil se?
Okay. So, first thing is that this podcast that we are doing, as an extension to this, I want all the people who think that they can bring some bring some words of wisdom to people who are young, or people who are not that exposed to technology, people who are not that exposed to options in the professional world, to come out and fill the form and self nominate. And with your wisdom, with your prescriptions, there can be a lot of people who can get benefited. I want I want people to come out and help and their fellow NIT Hamirpurians in whatever mode they can. Whether it is mentorship, whether it is donating some money to the to the campus, or I see I did my PhD and masters from BITS Pilani, and I see that BITS Pilani alumni is more strongly bonded with the campus. You may have seen that last week there were a few crores of money that was also donated by one of the old BITS Pilani alumni. I want NIT Hamirpur folks also to come out and wear that NITH badge on their sleeve with pride, and help the other people.
So, thanks everyone for listening to us. If you're interested in sharing your Dil Ki Kahaniyan on this couch, please fill in the form given in the description. And we look forward to listening to more Kisse Kahaniyan from NITH. Thank you.